Good morning, everybody. Welcome. It's a beautiful day. It's a beautiful day to be alive. It's a beautiful day to be a woman. I'm so thankful to be here. Today's going to be an amazingly powerful day with all of us out there raising awareness and putting this wonderful, beautiful energy out there. I wanted to give the mic over to our relative here, California relative, who's going to open us up with a prayer song, Canyon Sayers.
If you can hear me say, oh! Welcome to Ohlone territory. Oh! Right here, right now, we are in Yelamu. Can you say Yelamu?
Yelamu!
The language spoken here is Ramaytush. Can you say Ramaytush? You just acknowledged two indigenous words native to this land before English and before Spanish. Oh! So I want to just acknowledge that wherever we go, we need to honor native land. Wherever we are on unceded territories, and to acknowledge the indigenous nations of whose land we are on is the first and foremost important practice of solidarity, to recognize that indigenous peoples are on these lands and the ancestors need to be acknowledged. Anywhere we go in any of these lands, internationally, have indigenous nations. All of us have indigenous blood. So we are all indigenous together. We must honor our ancestors to come together. So I want to honor and acknowledge that my mother and my grandmother believed that when song, ceremony, and dancing stops, so does the earth. I too believe that. So I want to offer a grandmother song to honor our grandmothers, their grandmothers, and in all Mother Earth. For without them and without her, we would not be here. We share this time and space together for a reason. So it's with that humility, that gratitude, that present-mindedness that I offer this song to this space here today. Moim hoyo kawana, moim hoyo ka, moim hoy no, moim hoyo ko, moim hoyo ne. And thank you for acknowledging the indigenous peoples of these territories. Thank you for acknowledging indigenous protocol. We are still here.
We'd like to call up Anita Lucchesi. She's the executive director of Sovereign Bodies Institute in Berkeley, and also been working with the Missing Murder Indigenous Women database.
Hello, everyone. We've only been given 5 minutes for all Indigenous women everywhere, so I'm just going to get right to it. Raise your hand if you're an ally to Indigenous women. Now, I want you to keep those hands up for me for just a minute. Keep your hand up if you can name one missing or murdered Indigenous woman by name. If you cannot do so, put your hand down. What does it mean to be an ally? What does it mean to be unified if you leave us to carry our grief alone? There are 19 missing and murdered Indigenous women here, right here in this city in San Francisco, more in the surrounding Bay Area, and even more in Northern California. California is in the top 5 of all states in this country for the total number of cases. So there is no excuse to stand here today and not be able to name one when we know there are over 3,500 names in the database currently. So I would encourage all of you to act on that sense of allyship, act on that sense of kinship, and come to us in a good way and get to know us. Help us carry this grief and help us mobilize to end this violence. I want to close and say, I want to acknowledge the Britton family here. They're a family indigenous to Northern California, and they're experiencing a terrible grief, a terrible confusion over the loss of one of their loved ones, Khadijah Britton. Everyone here should know her name because it is one of the worst cases I have seen here in Northern California, because Mendocino County Sheriff has done them in the worst possible ways. Please, say some prayers for the Britton family. Say some prayers that Khadijah comes home as soon as possible. Naish.
Thank you, Sister Anita. We'd like to invite Sister Marge up. Marge has been doing a lot of activism work around missing murdered Indigenous women and raising awareness.
Oh, Machiksha Skuchi Haima. My name is Sister Who Walks with Bears. My colonized name is Marge. I stand here today as a survivor. I was left for dead. It didn't work. We need to change these laws today. Today. I'm going to teach you something. How we do. The 4 directions. East, south, west, north. I want you to say Khadijah with me. In the east, Khadijah. In the south, Khadijah. In the west, Khadijah. In the north, Khadijah. Come home safe and sound. Oh! We need to change these laws today. And I'm going to tell you how. There were 4 sisters. How many know this story? 4 sisters were walking along this stream to gather for their basket material. The oldest sister jumped in the water, said, "Help me, there's babies floating downstream." The other 2 sisters jumped in and started scooping these babies out on shore. The youngest sister ran upstream and they yelled at her, "Where are you going? We need help." She said, "I'm going to the source." I'm that sister. Are you? Are you going to go to the source and change these laws that protect our indigenous women and people, our Two-Spirit, our men, our children? There is so much to do, so much work. That's why we wear red. We only wear red. It's to represent the ones who are missing and murdered. I want to see red on every single person that can hear my voice. Red. And you say her name. If you know of someone who's missing or murdered, you say that name every single day. You call them home. You are on native land. Welcome. As far as you can see, you're on native land. We protect this Mother Earth. We're the sacred life givers. We carry the sacred waters. That's why you do not leave any litter on Mother Earth. You do not spit on Mother Earth. You take care of the waters. You take care of the land. You take care of the air. You take care of each other, and everything will fall into place because we go by prophecies, not prophets. Prophecy over profit. Oh.
Thank you, Sister Marge. I'd like to also invite up our sister over here. She came from Southern California, Josie. Been doing MMIW actions as well across the United States.
Squali. My name is Josie. I'm representing my Hopi tribe. And it's an honor to be here with my sisters because this is how it's about. We come together as one. We stand together as one because this is what Creator wanted, for all of us to be as one and not divided. So with that being said, I'm going to say this once. I'm going to say women, and we're going to say rise, rise, rise. And then after that, we're going to say, when I say no more stolen sisters, you guys say no more missing sisters. When I say no more stolen sisters, you guys say no more missing sisters. Because I want every single body in here to know we're not going to forget them. They're not forgotten. And they will always be remembered and bring us our sisters back home. Woo!
You want to do the song first?
We're going to do a song, and then we'll close out with the chant, and then turn it over to the rest of the speakers. The song we're going to do today is the Strong Woman song, and that song was created by our sisters, our relatives that are in prison, the women's prison, when they're having a hard, difficult time. They came up with this song to help give each other strength. And our songs are our prayers. All right, we're calling up the next speakers. Oh, one more thing, the chant, sorry. Moving too quick.
We can't forget the chant. So once again, when I say, women, rise, 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 we're going to do that 3 times. And then after the 3 times, we're going to say, when I say, no more missing sisters, you guys say, no more stolen sisters. Women.
Rise, rise, rise!
Women.
Rise, rise!
Women.
Rise, rise, rise!
And now we're going to say, when I say, no more missing sisters, you guys say, no more stolen sisters. We're going to do that 5 times. No more missing sisters.
No more stolen sisters!
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 I can't hear you. No more missing
Sisters!
sisters.
All right, we'd like to call up the next people on the agenda to come up and speak.
Thank you to our Native sisters for hosting us on their land. On behalf of Women's March San Francisco, I'd like to thank you for allowing us to hold this rally and march today. That was Canyon Sayers Roots, opened with a song. Canyon is an artist, Native representative, consultant, advocate of truth and history, multimedia artist, Coyote, TEK, educator, and much more. Thank you, Canyon, for welcoming us. You also heard from March Grow Ephard and Anita Lucchese. March Grow Ephard is a women's spiritual leader, carrier of the Women's Warrior Society staff and drum, grandmother of the White Buffalo Council, domestic violence sexual assault counselor, facilitator for White Bison Red Road to Welbrady, traditional dancer, basket weaver, cradle board maker, beater, and gatherer. Anita Lucchese is Executive Director of Sovereign Bodies Institute, an affiliate of Seventh Generation Fund dedicated to community-engaged research on gender and sexual violence against Indigenous people. In that role, she continues to serve as the caretaker of the missing and murdered and Indigenous women database. Let us not forget about the epidemic of murdered and missing Indigenous women. As we continue to have conversations about abuse and assault, we must be mindful of being allies in protecting Native women as well. Thank you to Aurora Mamea for sharing a chant for unity and solidarity. Aurora is an enrolled member of the Blackfeet tribe of Montana. In the past year, she has been involved in organizing and gathering the women in raising awareness around missing, murdered Indigenous women in the Bay Area. Aurora has worked at the Native American Health Center for the past 20 years, where she has played a critical role in the development and integration of cultural wellness and spirituality practices, which improve the agency's cultural competency. And thank you to all of the Indigenous contingent members who joined on stage and will be among the leaders of our march today. As we rally and march today, please remember that we are guests on their land and are grateful to stand in solidarity together. Welcome to the 2019 Women's March San Francisco. How's everyone doing today? Yes. I am super excited to be in front of you all today. My name is Mona Sheikh. I'm a stand-up comedian and also your MC. I feel so lucky to have the opportunity to be here with you amazing people. A little bit about myself. I am a Muslim immigrant, originally from Pakistan, who's proud to stand here and call herself an American and a feminist. I'll admit, being a Muslim immigrant can be kind of rough sometimes, especially when I'm at the airport. I've been stopped quite a few times by the TSA because, you know, the whole 9/11 thing. Yeah, one time they stopped me and said, ma'am, there's a ticking sound coming from your waist. I was like, don't worry about it. That's just my biological clock. It's just ticking away. My mother reminds me of it every single day. I know there's a whole new trend now with white dudes growing their beards out. We call them hipsters. They have their own countries, Portland, Seattle, and of course, the Mission. Yeah. Do you know what they call brown dudes with beards? Randomly selected the airport. It's getting so bad, I shaved my beard. Because I got tired of the TSA trying to grab my clock. I know my coming to America story is unlike any other. I have 4 older brothers. 2 of them were given expired vaccination for polio, and they ended up with polio because of it. This was the 70s. Thank you to Shriners Hospital in Lexington, Kentucky. They were able to offer free medical care to my brothers. Yeah. It's beautiful. Now, this may come as a surprise to you, but I grew up in a little bit of a difficult home environment. My parents sent me to America to live with my brothers when I was 17 years old, 15 years old. And at 17, I decided to be a performer. That didn't really go down so well with my family. They said, you either go to school or be sent back to Pakistan and be married off. Now, I understood something profound about America. She was and still is the land of the free. At 18, I left home in pursuit of my journey of becoming a performer. And guys, I am happy to announce I have made it. I am here with you all at the Women's March in San Francisco. This is amazing. It took me years of blood, sweat, and tears to become a citizen of this country. Now, I understand there is this talk of building a wall, but to see families coming here to seek refuge just to be separated at the border is not American. Seeing children locked in cages is not American. Innocent children dying at our borders is not American. Watching journalists like Jamal Khashoggi being killed for exercising freedom of press is not American. Shutting down the government while 800,000 federal workers go unpaid is not American. Electing officials who do not respect women, well, that's just not American. Compassion is what makes America great. Kindness is what makes America great. Embracing immigrants, escaping violence, poverty, and persecution is what makes America great. Protecting innocent children and giving them a bright future is what makes America great. Letting journalists exercise freedom of press is what makes America great. Taking care of the middle class, federal workers, and treating women with respect, that makes America amazing. Now, ladies, and the amazing gentlemen supporting us here today, I'm not sure if you know this, but the 19th Amendment, which gave women the right to vote, was less than 100 years ago. Okay, we are already kicking some major ass, ladies. Yeah. I want you to check out these incredible stats about women in America. 32 Fortune 500 CEOs are women. 57% of women in the US participate in the labor force. Record number of women have won office in 2018. 117 to be exact. We have the first Muslim women like Ilhan Omar and Rashida Tlaib elected to Congress. The youngest person elected to Congress happens to be a woman, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. This is the kind of leadership we need in office to bring further equality to women, immigrants, LGBTQIA, people with disabilities, and protecting women's reproductive rights, because these female elected officials know a thing or two about being a woman. I want the women here today, especially the young girls. Especially the young girls. Yeah. I want you to know that there have been tons of courageous women like Susan B. Anthony, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, and Harriet Tubman, just to name a few, who fought for a better world for women like you and myself. Our presence here is proof that you will help carry the torch to keep moving forward and keep fighting to making America great. Are you guys ready to get the program started? Yeah? All right. On behalf of Women's March San Francisco, thank you to all for being here today, and thank you to all our wonderful, generous co-hosts, Planned Parenthood California. Yeah. PPR NorCal has helped make today possible. We are so grateful to their team for being such great partners. I'd like to welcome CEO of Planned Parenthood of Northern California, Gilda Gonzalez. She provides the executive leadership for one of the largest Planned Parenthood affiliates in the country. PP NorCal delivers care to 88,000 patients at 19 health centers, as well as education and advocacy programs throughout 20 Northern California counties. Some of Ms. Gonzalez's accomplishments include Alameda County Women's Hall of Fame inductee, SF Business Times Influential Women Forever Influential designation, and St. Mary's College of California's 40 Most Influential Women Graduates. Please give it up for the amazing Gilda Gonzalez.
Wonderful to be here. Love and greetings from Planned Parenthood, Northern California, staff and board of directors. I stand here in gratitude on behalf of all those we care for, educate, and serve. On the evening of November the 8th, 2016, everyone associated with Planned Parenthood felt like we were dealt a fatal blow once the presidential race was called. Like you, we were shocked and mortified. Planned Parenthood throughout our history has never had it easy. But at that moment, we knew we were in the fight of all fights. The president and his cronies had made it very clear that we were one of their first targets to mess with. But soon after the election, calls for a Women's March began to appear. And in the midst of our post-election darkness, the Women's March began to shine like a beacon of hope and strength. By January 2017, the marches were real, and the magic was in the air. I am very grateful because Planned Parenthood stands strong now because you marched in 2017, 2018, and today. Let me explain further. Following the 2017 marches, we saw record numbers of people attending congressional town hall meetings, demanding that Congress protect health care and protect Planned Parenthood. The Women's March triggered a fierce wave of activism that set in motion the resistance. It was then that we were ready to fight in a whole new way with renewed hope for the duration of this hostile administration. And the Women's March and movement have solidified several truths for me. First, love does trump hate. Second, what is right and just will always prevail. And thirdly, don't mess with women and girls' right to control our bodies. It just pisses us off. After November 2016, the number of Planned Parenthood supporters doubled. This flood of love required us to re-examine ourselves. We needed to own why people felt so strongly about defending us. And I've concluded that it's because Planned Parenthood stands and has always fought for sexual and reproductive freedom and justice for all. It's also because we care for anyone, regardless of your legal status, your ability to pay, your ethnicity, your religion, gender, sexual identity, or sexual preference. Planned Parenthood is here for everyone. We are even here for those who oppose us. We've had the experience of seeing someone protesting us outside our health center, and then months later, coming in for health care services. And I'm proud to tell you that we don't judge them. Instead, we care for them like anyone else. That is why I believe you and millions of others across this country believe in us and continue to fight back with us. This movement breathed new life into us, and attempts to fully defund us failed. So I say again, because of you, we are stronger today. So much so that this year, we will begin to build a bigger and bolder San Francisco Planned Parenthood Health Center, allowing us to double the number of patients we serve. We are also getting ready if Roe is reversed. We affirm our pledge to never stop performing abortions, period. We are here for our Northern California patients and anyone who will be coming from other states if Roe goes away. It's important for you to know that California Planned Parenthood leaders are clear in our commitment to ensure that abortion remains safe and legal in this state. Unity is an imperative now. We must keep this movement together for the next phase of work, namely the presidential race next year. Together, we are fierce and unstoppable. Just look at the amazing November midterm results. We must win and set in motion a path to an America that we are proud of and can finally believe in. For over 100 years, Planned Parenthood has grounded ourselves on the following belief: no woman can call herself free who does not own and control her body. No woman can call herself free until she can choose consciously whether she will or will not be a mother. We are clear in our purpose, and because you march, vote, and continue to speak truth to power, Planned Parenthood will remain strong for you and future generations to come. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Gilda. This next speaker is the first African American woman to be mayor of San Francisco. Mayor London Breed is a native San Franciscan raised by her grandmother in Plaza East Public Housing in the Western Addition. She first entered public office in November 2012, representing District 5, and was recently elected mayor in June 2018. Guys, it is my honor to welcome Mayor London Breed.
Thank you. Are we fired up? Are we ready to go? You know, I am so excited to be here today. I remember 3 years ago when we were out here during the first march. You all remember that? It was pouring raining. It was pouring raining. But we came out here for one thing and one thing only, because we believe in making sure that we have representation. We believe in making sure that women's voices are heard. I was raised by a strong woman. We would call her Miss Brown. Miss Brown didn't play around. You had to go to school, you had to do your homework, you had to clean up. Mama Faye would pick us up from school, and some of the other amazing women in the Western Addition community, not too far from us, supported us, they encouraged us, they poured into us love, and taught us how to give back to our community. And today, because of their support, because of amazing trailblazers, someone like me could actually be mayor of the city and county of San Francisco. And here's the good news. We have come far. We know we have a long way to go, but a record number of women, 35 women elected to the House of Representatives, bringing the total to 127. In San Francisco, we are represented by women like Kamala Harris, Dianne Feinstein, Leader Nancy Pelosi, Barbara Lee, and Jackie Spear. On the state level, we have amazing people like Betty Yee and Fiona Ma and Malia Cohen, people who are represented in statewide office. But again, if we want to make things better, it is time that we prepare the next generation. It is time we support them, we empower them, and we encourage them. We have a lot of work to do. And what we are going to do in the spirit of honoring one of the most amazing leaders in our history, in our country, Dr. Martin Luther King, as we celebrate his message of tolerance, his message of inclusiveness, his message of understanding and forgiveness, and ultimately his fight for love and equality. As we celebrate Dr. Martin Luther King today, let us not be satisfied. The woman's right to choose is not something we're even talking about because it just should happen. Let us not be satisfied until women are finally making the same amount of money and even more than men. Let us not be satisfied. Instead of 23% of women in the House of Representatives, hell, let's make it 100. Let us not be satisfied until we make sure that we break that glass ceiling and get a woman in the White House. In honor of the Women's March, in honor of each and every one of you and all of the things that you and so many incredible leaders do to make our city and our country a better place for women everywhere. We are going to light up City Hall pink tonight. We're going to light up City Hall pink. We are going to make sure that the message of unity and love is transcended all over this country. Thank you all so much for being here. Thank you, everybody. Enjoy yourselves.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you so much for that. Guys, just a reminder, you can text number 4WMSF to 44321 and look out for people with buckets to drop your cash. We like your cash. All right. Barbara Lee has been the U.S. representative for California's 9th Congressional District, now the 13th, since 1998. She serves on the Budget Committee and the Appropriations Committee, which oversees all federal government spending. Prior to that, Barbara was elected to the California State Assembly and then to the State Senate. It is my honor to welcome Barbara Lee.
Thank you. First, let me just say thank you for being here today. And I want to thank you to the Women's March of San Francisco, to Gilda Gonzalez, Planned Parenthood. I stand with Planned Parenthood as the co-chair of the Pro-Caucus, the Pro-Choice Caucus in the House of Representatives. Also to the Global Fund for Women, I want to thank all of you for bringing together this beautiful and powerful gathering. Now, I'm honored to be with you today to share the stage with these phenomenal and powerful women. First, let me just say to Mayor Breed, San Francisco's first African-American mayor to hold that position. Isn't she a phenomenal woman? Isn't she? And I tell you one thing, Mayor Breed is setting a new standard for mayors across the country. Yes, your mayor. Your mayor. And of course, I must acknowledge your representative, my friend, the greatest speaker ever, Nancy Pelosi, for knowing her power, but also for empowering women to lead. As we remember our warrior for justice and peace, Dr. Martin Luther King this weekend, I am reminded of our beloved Coretta Scott King, who said, she said, the woman power of this nation can be the power which makes us whole and heals the rotten community, now so shattered by war, poverty, and racism. She went on to say, I have great faith in the power of women who will dedicate themselves wholeheartedly to the task of remaking society. And that is what you are doing, remaking this society. And let me tell you, I certainly see that woman power here today. Do you feel the power we have? Are we speaking truth to power? Now, I wish I could say that we are living in unprecedented times, but as people of color and as women around this country know, we have faced and continue to face many, many challenges. But we have overcome before, and we will again. And how are we going to do that? By not backing down, by standing up, by fighting back, and yes, by leading. 2 years ago, when one of the largest protests in our nation's history, women from coast to coast turned out to speak that truth to power. And the result? In 2018, we saw a women's wave sweep through Congress. We marched in 2017 because we knew that Donald Trump was trying to turn the clock back. We knew that. In 2018, we marched because we were determined to spark true change in leadership. And today, we mark once again to celebrate the women's wave and to make good on our promise to speak truth to power. Let us tell Donald Trump, first of all, to end this shutdown today. End it today. It's wreaking havoc on the lives of so many people. So many people. Now let me tell you, like you, I remember the days when being a woman was a pre-existing condition. Do you? I remember the days when women of color and poor women didn't have access to quality health care. Do you remember those days? Those days are over. Those days are over. Let me tell you, we saw this wave in Congress like you would not believe because of you. We've elected more women of color, more Latinas, more African American women, more single mothers, more millennials to the Hall of Congress. We elected Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. She's on the Financial Services Committee now. Women lead. We elected Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib. We elected Ayanna Pressley. I speak their names: Johanna Hayes, Lauren Underwood, Veronica Escobar, and Sylvia Garcia, and many more women of color. And yes, finally, since 1789, we elected our 2 Native American women to Congress, Deb Haaland and Sharice Davids. What a wave. So look out, Donald Trump, the squad has arrived. Our Asian Pacific American Caucus is chaired by a brilliant woman, Judy Chu, who is leading the country on so many important issues. Women across the country, we know what is at stake all too well. If we don't show up, it's our reproductive rights on the chopping block, right? If we don't show up, our kids go to underfunded schools taught by overworked teachers, right? If we don't show up, we will never see equal pay for equal work, right? But you're showing up, right? And we're not going to back down. Frederick Douglass, who supported the women's suffrage movement, he said, and he marched side by side with Susan B. Anthony, he reminded us that power concedes nothing without demand. Are we demanding our seat at the table and the power that we deserve? Finally, let me just say, my mentor, the first African-American woman elected to Congress 50 years ago, she was the first African-American and the first woman to run for president, the late, great, honorable Congresswoman Shirley Chisholm. She was unbought and unbossed. She was fond of saying, if they don't give you a seat at the table, bring a folding chair. Because when we fight, we win. Well, the women's wave, all of you, we brought our folding chairs, but you know what? We are here to stay. We are here to stay. So we cannot and we will not back down. Thank you, thank you, thank you for leading. And let me just say to you, as we say in my district, stay woke.
The amazing Congresswoman Barbara Lee, guys. The amazing. Marcy Glazer has been the CEO of the Jewish Community Center of San Francisco since in August 2014, after spending 4 years as a board member and many more as a participant. She has been a creative leader in both the for-profit and nonprofit sectors throughout her career. She began her career working on ocean environmental policy. Marcy is the proud mother of a teenage girl. Please give it up for the amazing Marcy Glazer, everyone.
You all look amazing. Can I just say that? And I am so proud to be here in community with all of you. My tradition says we find strength in community. That's why I'm here. The JCC started in 1877. It was the Young Men's Hebrew Association. Today, the JCC is open to everybody. not just the young, not just men, not just Jews, and it's led by me, a woman. We bring people together across the city. We do this not because you're all Jewish, but because we are. We are all community builders here, and we want change. And we each draw from our own cultural histories and stories for inspiration. As a daughter, mother, and CEO, I'm going to share some of what I've learned from my Jewish tradition, which has very much experience in fostering resiliency and optimism in difficult times. Every day, my daughter, she's here today, and I share a couple of words before she goes off to that harsh environment of middle school. Hazak ve'amatz. These are Hebrew words from the Torah. They mean be strong and take courage. Chazak, be strong. It is not easy to be a girl or woman in our culture. I see women of every age, background, and appearance at the JCC doing the best to care for themselves, their families, and the world around them. Women who do all that invisible, unpaid work of thinking and planning for a better future. Be strong is a reminder to ally with others who care about human dignity and social justice. Allies who want to gather together to speak and also to listen to each other's stories and find ways to support one another. Women's March San Francisco and the JCC have done just that around immigration, disability rights, with more collaboration ahead. What to do with this collective strength? Amatz, take courage to push aside those who unleashed awful, horrible rhetoric to divide our society. Anti-Semitism has reemerged violently, but right along the other hateful us versus them counterparts. Racism, homophobia, xenophobia, Islamophobia, and so many others. We can all be understandably fearful of the violence inflicted on so many Americans, from San Bernardino to Orlando, Charleston to Pittsburgh, and every day in too many neighborhoods across our country. So we need to take courage to act on our values, to have the chutzpah, the audacity to demand a different future. None of us are free until all of us are free. We need more badass superheroes, female superheroes. And we need all of you, everyday upstanders, to speak out and stand up on behalf of women and all people being treated unjustly on the streets, on the job, at the polling place, and on the border. Jewish tradition also reminds me to appreciate how far we've come from generation to generation. My 101-year-old grandmother, Rose, was born before women had the right to vote. In November, she did vote for one of the more than 100 women elected to Congress this past November. Yeah. I know I'll celebrate the election of a woman to president in my lifetime. Yeah. For that future, we all of us need to stand side by side in our pursuit of gender, racial, and economic justice. We won't walk the identical path all the time, but for any of us to succeed, we need encouragement and support. Be strong and take courage. Chazak ve'amatz. Thank you.
Thank you, Marcy. Thank you. We have a treat for you guys. We have a special treat. Okay, next we have a performance by Becky Goldvik, who stars in the national tour of Come From Away, currently playing at the Golden Gate Theater here in San Francisco, here to sing Me and the Sky and cast members from Come From Away. Please welcome Becky Goldvik and the cast members.
My My parents must have thought they had a crazy kid, 'cause I was one of those kids who always knew what I wanted. They took me down to the airport to see all the planes departing, watching them fly. Something inside of me was starting. I was 8 when I told them that I'd be a pilot, but I was too young and too short, and there were no female captains. And my dad said, be patient, he said, just see what happens. But I took my first lesson, came down from the sky, and told my father I'd fly for the rest of my life. And I got my first job flying for a mortician in a tiny Bonanza, just a corpse and me. $5 an hour for flying dead bodies. I had to climb over their faces just to get to my seat. But suddenly the wheels lift off, the ground is falling backwards. I am suddenly alive. Suddenly I'm in the cockpit. Suddenly everything's changed. Suddenly I'm not too young or too short, and the passengers in the back don't complain. Suddenly I'm flying company charters. Suddenly everything's high. Suddenly there's nothing in between me and the sky. American Airlines had the prettiest planes, so I applied as a flight engineer. But the World War II pilots, they all complained. They said girls shouldn't be in the cockpit. Hey lady, hey baby, hey, why don't you grab us a drink? And the flight attendants weren't my friends back then, and they said, are you better than us, do you think? But I kept getting hired, and the World War II crew, they retired, and the girls all thought much higher of me. 1986, the first female American captain in history. Suddenly I'm in the cockpit. Suddenly I've got my wings. Suddenly all of those pilots were testing me. Well, they can get their own drinks. Ha! Suddenly there's no one saying stay grounded, looking down, passing them by. Suddenly there's nothing in between me and the sky. Suddenly I've got an all-female crew. The news caught and made headlines across the world. Suddenly it stopped. No one's saying you can't, or you won't, or you know you're not anything, 'cause you're a girl. Suddenly I'm getting married, and we're putting pins on the map where we flow. Suddenly I am a mother, and suddenly shocked at how much they've grown. Suddenly I'm wondering how my parents would feel seeing me teaching men to be pilots. 'Cause suddenly I am a senior instructor, and somehow I'm 51. Suddenly I'm flying Paris to Dallas, across the Atlantic, and feeling calm, when suddenly someone on air-to-air traffic says at 8:46 there's been a terrorist action, and the one thing I loved more than anything was used as the bomb. Suddenly I'm in a hotel. Suddenly something has died. Suddenly there's something in between me and the sky. Thank you.
One more time for Becky Goldsvig and the cast members. Teresa Siagatonu is an award-winning poet, arts educator, community organizer, and mental health advocate born and rooted in the Bay Area. Teresa is a recipient of President Obama's Champions of Change Award. Please give it up for Teresa Siagatonu.
Oh, there are a lot of y'all. What's up, San Francisco? Talo Falava, good afternoon. What's up, Bay Area? I got a question for you. If you woke up like me, hella hyped to be here at the 2019 Women's March, make some noise. I believe that we can make so much more noise than that, family. I said, if you woke up fired up as hell to march for justice at the 2019 Women's March, make some noise. Family, when I say women, y'all say power. Women. Women. When I say we will, y'all say fight. We will. We will. When I say we will, y'all say resist. We will. We will. When I say we will, y'all say win. We will. We will. We will. Make some noise. Family, I stand here as a child of immigrant parents from the island of Samoa, someone who was born and raised in this city, Frisco, California, from the North Beach Projects, or what used to be the North Beach Projects, to up the street in Fillmore, to Hunter's Point. My years spent not only as a touring poet and a teaching artist in the Bay, but as a community organizer as well, has taught me that I am not here today just in protest of a president. I do not even say his name, family. That is not how I choose to spend my power with you all. And I am not marching today despite our differences, sisters and family. I am marching because of them. And I invite, and my brothers, and I invite the tension, and I invite the discomfort, the same way I invite our collective joy. We did not come because we thought this march would be comfortable. We came because we know discomfort will not kill us. Other things may aim and target us, family, but not this united front. I came to stay focused and to get free with all of you. And there's nothing that exists in our society right now that brings us closer to freedom quite like art does. We artists, make some noise if you're artists in this crowd. We artists know that we have a unique responsibility to translate that which we cannot quite articulate all the time. We use art to heal, but most of all, we also use art to resist. With that said, I share this poem with you all today that I wrote for this moment, with the spirit of every one of my ancestors guiding my words. I love you, sisters, and I love you, allies. I need you. I got you. And I truly, truly fucking believe that we will win. Today, I laid out every piece of me onto the tabletop of this poem. And I remind myself that my first generation, queer, Samoan, woman of color body fights its way up for air, surviving every day knowing I was not supposed to survive at all. I am not supposed to be on this stage. I am not supposed to be this loud, to be this brown, this queer. How dare a queer, brown, Asian Pacific Islander woman from the Bay be so bold at the mouth of a mic? How dare a queer, brown, how dare a queer, brown Samoan woman not crumple up her courage? How dare I not explain myself for being so articulate? How dare I be more than my exotic stereotypes? How dare I'd be a queer, brown, Samoan woman of color and expect better from her white sisters and male allies. How dare I use my voice? How dare I use my voice to turn up the volume on this country's history? And yet they say, sisters, that we overreact. They say, get over it already. They say, stop trying to be divisive. They say, stop playing the race card again. They say, boys will be boys. They say, prove it. We prove it. And they say, I don't believe you. We scream. And they say, hey, keep it down. They say, shut up, girl, and know your place. Know your place. Know your place. And that's when I remember, y'all, that they know what happens when a woman doesn't do what they want her to do. When a woman unburies her bravery from the backyard of her voice and uses it to scream her story and watch a choir of other women chime in to sing Me Too, they know that when a woman tries on the size of her voice, time is up. They know that the most powerful and frightening thing a woman can do is realize how much power she is actually made of. I write poetry because I realized that the power of my words is the only country that a colonizer can't get his hands on. I speak because even as it shakes, my voice is the only nation that cannot be invaded. My ancestors did not survive, resist, and die at the hands of U.S. imperialism and militarization just so I could be nervous of how uncomfortable my truth makes people who are not used to seeing a queer, brown, Pacific Islander woman outside of a Disney movie or tourist attraction paradise. We women who unhinge our jaws and are done playing nice. We, history in the making, hell-bent on not repeating our past. Cycle breakers in the flesh. We who flood the streets today and bring the dreams of our mothers with us. We who ran for office in last year's midterm elections and did that shit. We, the queer, trans, disabled, undocumented, poor women who take up all the space we want. We, who may not always see eye to eye, but know that we cannot survive with even one of us left behind. We, who are so over asking for equality and ready to demand justice. A justice that is ready to be on the only side of history that will save us. A justice that is done accepting the lesser of two evils and desires the option of no evil at all. A justice that runs us our money for our years of unpaid emotional, physical, sexual, intellectual labor. I want a justice that can find the Pacific Islands on a map and say they know something about climate change that we don't. Follow the lead of those island nations so that we can save this planet. I want a justice that returns this land to the indigenous people. Sends a search party for all of our missing and murdered Native sisters. A justice that demands no body is illegal. A justice that stops. I want a justice that stops depending on Black women to vote us out of our misery by continuously being the only group who votes in the best interest of all of us. Because they vote in the best interest of themselves. One where women betray the patriarchy that they think protects them. One where men betray the patriarchy that they know protects them. A justice. I want a justice where men don't wait to have daughters or had to recall the names of women in their lives just for them to value ours. I want a justice where we stop theorizing the meaning of allyship over Twitter and start going home for the holidays to be one in front of our families. I want a justice that sees women of color going in one direction and dares the rest of the world to do the unthinkable and follow our lead. Remind ourselves how history has proven time and time and time again that when women of color fight for justice, like we have done our entire lives, we fight for justice for all of us. Women, we women don't only have the capacity for hope. Sisters, we are the hope. Women, look not only at the problem, but at the horizon. We see justice rooted in the new soil of a heaving world, anxiously waiting for us, whispering in our ears to bring all of us there ourselves. Thank you.
How amazing was that? Yeah. I see some amazing signs. I see a woman's place is in the resistance. Yeah. I say a woman's place is in the House of Representatives. That's what I say. All right. Our next speaker, Natasha Singh, is an educator and writer who teaches and speaks widely on sexual ethics, consent education, porn literacy, toxic mindful masculinity, and ending gender-based violence. Natasha co-chairs the board of Center for Domestic Peace, a Marin-based nonprofit whose mission is to mobilize individuals and communities to end domestic violence in Marin and beyond. She is also the co-founder and executive director of Asha Rising, a nonprofit that provides permanent housing for elderly trafficking survivors who have aged out of the sex industry. She serves as an advisor to Freedom Forward, an organization committed to ending commercial sexual exploitation of youth in San Francisco. Please welcome Natasha Singh.
Hello, San Francisco. The late poet Audre Lorde wrote, "Sometimes we are blessed with being able to choose the time, the arena, and the manner of our revolution. But more usually, we must do battle where we're standing. Today, we are blessed. We are blessed because we are choosing the time, the arena, and the manner of our revolution. Today, we are choosing to speak truth to power, and just as our foremothers did before us, we are not going to stop." So can I hear you sing it with me now? Speak truth to power. Speak truth to power. 45 years ago, women around this country ignited an international movement to end domestic violence and other forms of violence against women and girls. After suffering violence in private settings like living rooms, bedrooms, kitchens, and in private spaces, women organized to speak truth to power. They challenged structures, laws, and social norms that protected perpetrators of violence and moved these men's crimes to the public arena, where others could hear about them, read about them, and demand change. Accountability for violence could not and would not have happened without women. So many women around this country breaking silence. Their efforts resulted in the landmark Violence Against Women Act, which passed in 1994. Their efforts led to the creation of thousands of domestic violence shelters and rape crisis centers in the U.S. And I am honored to be part of one of these organizations called Center for Domestic Peace, based in Marin County, where last year we served over 5,000 individuals, and thousands more have received help from our sister organizations in the Bay Area. To get into our shelter and our transitional housing, women must take the most courageous step imaginable. They must speak truth to the power of their abuser by calling our hotlines, by leaving their partners, and by getting help, often risking their lives to do so. At our shelter, I have looked into the eyes of women who have fled their abusive partners, and I have seen the distraught faces of their children, and I can tell you that miracles happen when women feel believed, when women are believed, and when women and children are finally safe. So yes, we have come far, but we still have much work to do from where we are standing. Right now, this current administration is putting the landmark Violence Against Women Act at risk of not being reauthorized. We cannot let that happen because the Violence Against Women Act is a powerful influence on national, state, local, and tribal policies, and because it gives us the funds we desperately need to do the work that we do on the ground. So put your national legislative people on speed dial and call them all the time. Let them know we will not stand for going backwards. No way. Support your local domestic violence organizations. There are 19 of them in the Bay Area, and support your local sexual violence organizations. Volunteer your time. Donate items for women and children, and write checks if you can. Center for Domestic Peace is one place where you can do that. Support anyone you know who is being victimized or at risk of being victimized by domestic assault or sexual violence, and keep teaching young people about healthy and unhealthy relationships. Support efforts to change gun laws because the presence of a gun in a domestic violence situation increases the risk of homicide for a woman by 500%. Because female intimate partners are more likely to be murdered by a gun than by any other and all other means combined. Support one another in speaking truth to power by speaking with each other and not over each other. Support this movement and its incredible, magical potential by remembering the words of Audre Lorde, who said, "I am not free while any woman is unfree, and when her shackles are very different from my own." So when we are marching today, let us march with love. Let us march for all survivors of domestic and sexual violence here and around the world. Let us march for all their children who have witnessed that violence and who are still struggling to make sense of their fractured lives. Let us march for all teens and young adults so they can become their leaders that they were meant to be. Let us march for and with all our allies who have become activists, supporters, and fellow agitators. And as we march today, let us revel in the sound of our footsteps and our voices. Let us revel in the sound of our silences being broken. And let us revel in the sound, the glorious sound of our revolution. Thank you.
Two brown girls on stage at the same time? Alicia Contreras is currently the executive director of the Spanish-Speaking Citizens Foundation in Oakland, California. Prior to that, she was executive director of Women Pushing Forward, formerly Whirlwind Women. Please welcome Alicia Contreras.
Hola a todos! I am so happy to be here. I wish that you all could see what I'm seeing here. I can't even see when this line of people ends. This is amazing. So give a big, big applause to all of you because you are here today. My message today is that we cannot take anything for granted. Join me to say it. We cannot take anything said, I have witnessed advance in several human rights that affect me directly. The disability rights, immigrants' rights, Spanish-speaking and Latin American communities' rights, women's rights, LGBT rights. If you connect to any of these movements, you and I are directly connected. Please raise your hands if you have a direct connection. I want to see how many of us. Right on! Wow! Here are a few important facts. In 1977, disability rights heroes took over federal buildings to improve the lives of millions of people with disabilities in the U.S. This has had an impact worldwide. In San Francisco, the sit-in at the federal building lasted 23 days until the regulations to protect the rights of people with disabilities were finally signed. I bet you did not learn this in your history books because our history is not told as much as we wish. But I'm telling it today because I want you to remember it. San Francisco is the place to be. San Francisco is where many, many civil rights have started and moved forward. And we must continue moving forward. Sí se puede, of course. The Immigration and Naturalization Act in 1965, also known as the Hart-Celler Act, abolished an earlier quota system based on national origin and established a new immigration policy based on reuniting immigrant families and attracting skilled labor to the United States. We must fight together to keep that right and not let anyone take it away, because this is what a group of people are fighting against, and we must protect this right because people died for it. During the early 60s in Texas, many Mexican Americans were treated like second-class citizens and discriminated against. The movement encouraged to not only discuss tradition with other Mexican Americans, but others not within the movement. You hear a lot about immigrants, Mexicans, and you hear a lot of not true facts. I was born in Mexico, and I became an American citizen, a very proud American citizen 2 years ago by choice. And I work hard so people like me integrate in the American community, because we came here to be part of the American community. And we work hard to succeed, not only as people, not only as family, but as a community in the United States and for the United States. The gay liberation movement is a social and political movement of the late 60s through the mid-80s that urged lesbians and gay men to engage in radical direction action and to counter societal shame and with gay pride. Yes, we are proud to be who we are. In June 10, 1963, Congress passed the Equal Pay Act, making it illegal for employers to pay women less than men who receive the same. Men and women should receive the same pay for the same job, period. Why, if the Congress passed the Equal Pay Act so many years ago, more than 50 years ago, we're still fighting for it? The bottom line here is we cannot take anything for granted. It is not just getting there, but staying there. It is not enough to pass an act. We must act so the act actually does what it's supposed to do. Thank you very much, and let's march today. Let's make noise.
Thank you. That's okay. Thank you. Thank you so much for that. I guess we can all agree on the fact that screw the damn wall. My God. Next speaker. Mamouna Afzal Berda is an educator and school board member. She won her election in November 2018 and is now the first visible hijabi Muslim and the youngest woman serving in an elected leadership role in San Jose and all of Santa Clara County. Please welcome Mamouna Afzal Berda.
My journey to speaking truth to power was catapulted in 2017. I remember it vividly. It began on a Monday morning. I was about to kick off a new literature unit with a set of Harry Potter books. I was picturing my students, middle schoolers in special education, experiencing the magic of the wizarding world and falling in love with reading as I did at their age. I had gotten to school early. It was still cold in East San Jose. On September 11th, 2017, 45's first year in office. I turned the corner to see my classroom of 5 years vandalized with words of hate, words associating me with terrorism. My stomach knotted and I was horrified. Islamophobia, here again. That day changed me. It was the 13th of 15 incidents of hatred at our school site, a community I grew up in. Our students and community deserved better. Enough was enough. When 2018 came, we were still processing the previous year's incidents. Since hate is always unexpected, the community responded. Dozens of letters of support and people spoke up against hate. Solidarity made a statement. Hate is not welcome here. Not now, not ever. Hope prevailed. Hope empowers you to create positive change. Hope reminds you why you do what you do. Hope begs for justice, and hope calls upon you in the most difficult of times and demands that you not give up. We needed a voice at the table. Representation matters. I was 23 years old. They said, "You're too young." A Muslim woman wearing a headscarf. They said, "You don't look American." My skin is brown and I'm a woman of color. They said, "But were you even born here?" Actually, yes. That was the moment I knew I had to speak truth to power. I knew that if we ask our students to take risks, then we too must be willing to stand up proudly for who we are. I am a teacher and a proud American Muslim woman. My classroom is a look into the future. This is for my student with an orthopedic impairment who needs a more accessible world. For my African American student whose beautiful melanin-rich skin needs unconditional commitment that his life matters. For my student who drew a picture of her mother on one side of the border and herself on the other. This is for my Indigenous student whose history is not reflected in our textbooks. For my student who is questioning and exploring their gender identity and craves nothing but acceptance. This is for my student, a sexual assault survivor who is triggered and reliving trauma. Me too. I knew I had to take the risk. There was too much at stake to sit and watch hatred take over. So I applied, was interviewed, and appointed to the school board seat unanimously. I was the only woman on the board when I started 9 months ago, and the youngest woman serving, and the first hijabi Muslim woman elected official in the county. We decided to run in the November election 2 months ago and won. It's a win for every woman, a win for people of color. It's a win for all children of immigrants like my parents and descendants of refugees like my grandparents. It's a win for all of us who are striving for equity. This year, in 2019, we have come full circle. We must continue to speak our truth, to share our stories, even when it bothers others, even when it feels uncomfortable, even when it's terrifying. We must stand together and persist. We must have diverse representation as women, even when no one in those roles looks like us. We all have the power to stand up and say, today is the day we empower ourselves. Today is the day we empower each other. Today is the day we will stand firm and speak truth to power in everything we do and say.
Yes. Ooh, felt that one? I felt that one. That was amazing. Jessica Nolan is the executive director of the Young Women's Freedom Center, formerly the Center for Young Women's Development. She is deeply committed to the liberation and freedom of women and girls and has spent the majority of her career working to develop and implement programming and strategies based on the principles that those most impacted must be at the forefront of decision-making about their own lives. Please welcome Jessica Nolan.
What's up, San Francisco Women's March? We bringing up the whole Young Women's Freedom Center crew because that's how we roll. So my name is Jessica. We're really excited to be here today with all of you beautiful and powerful faces. I represent the Young Women's Freedom Center, formerly the Center for Young Women's Development. We've been organizing women, girls, non-binary folks in San Francisco for 25 years. Folks who have been incarcerated, experienced the injustice system, lived and worked on the streets. Our folks who are right now just a few blocks away who couldn't be here, our sisters who are sitting up in juvenile hall, our siblings down in county jail, and all of our siblings in state women's prisons across the state. We stand here today together for them. For 25 years, we know that those of us most impacted by the most corrosive impacts and injustice in our society are the very ones we need to lead, are the very ones that need to radically reimagine what freedom looks like for all of us. Hell yeah! And our message today, as we stand here, and I'm not going to talk too long, is that we know that all freedom and liberation for everyone, for all women, for cis and trans women, and non-binary people is all tied together. We've known for 25 years that we don't need to serve young folks that have been impacted by this injustice system. We don't need to save nobody. That we actually see most clearly what is wrong with our system. And if we invest in the leadership and the brilliance of those who have experienced incarceration, those that have had to grow up on the streets, those who are literally fighting fist over fist daily to survive, that when they get free, when they lead, that is how we all get free. And so we don't do anything alone here at the Young Women's Freedom Center. So I want to call on some of my siblings here to speak. Chanel is a longtime center sister, came here like myself as a young person out of incarceration and detention, and is an elected official. I'm super glad to introduce you, Chanel.
Thank you, Jessica. How are you feeling, my sisters? Today is a beautiful day. We are here, united and powerful. We are sending a strong message that we will not be victimized, ignored, and silenced. Through sisterhood, anything is possible. And brotherhood, our allies. We got our allies here too. But this is about sisterhood. I'm talking about sisterhood today. It's okay for us to have our space. That's right, our space is okay. When I was stuck in the cycle of incarceration as a youth, these were my sisters that lifted me up and brought me into organizing for my community. I'm a San Francisco native, raised in the Fillmore district right here. And now I stand before you as an elected official on the San Francisco City College Board of Trustees. Anything is possible through sisterhood. But we have to get out and vote because we need to be represented and we have to be at the table. Our voices are critical. The voices of these young, beautiful women, all of us here, we deserve to be represented. We deserve a seat at the table. Thank you.
Woo! Thank you, Chanel. I just want to talk about the work that we're doing at the Young Women's Freedom Center. I'm also representing the Sister Warriors Freedom Coalition. We're a coalition of over 400 formerly incarcerated, system-involved, cis and trans women and girls and non-binary folks in California. We are working to change our state through policies based on our own experiences. And we actually want all of you to join us ally members. We know that this work can't happen alone. And so whether we're looking at pay equity, whether we're looking at issues of our right to our bodies, or whether we're looking down and shutting down this injustice system and creating economic opportunities, we got to do this work together. Beyond this rally and march today, we hope that you will join us. And I want to pass this off to my sibling, K.I., who's going to tell some other words.
Y'all looking kind of dry out there. Where the spirit at? It's our day. It's Women Day. My name is K.I. My pronouns are they, them, bruh, sis, fam. As long as it's respectful, it's all good. I'm a Samoan young adult who is born and raised in HP, exactly West Point, and I'm here to represent along with my siblings. So today we're going to do the Assata Shakur chant. Now, everyone know who Assata Shakur is, right? She's a black woman who's powerful, radical, and a revolutionary. So this is a call and response. So here we go. It is our duty to fight for our freedom. It is our duty to win. We must love each other and support each other. We have nothing to lose but our chains. Two more times. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's warm up. Let's warm up. It is our duty to fight for our freedom. It is our duty to win. We must love each other and support each other. We have nothing to lose but our chains. It is our duty to fight for our freedom. It is our duty to win. We must love each other and support each other. We have nothing to lose but our chains. Let's get it.
Next up, we have Sam Liu and Tracy Mixon from the Coalition on Homelessness. The Coalition on Homelessness is an organization dedicated to developing the leadership skills of homeless San Franciscans to forge true solutions to the housing crisis and beat back mean-spirited attacks against them. Tracy Mixon is a powerful peer organizer with the Coalition, a mother, and is currently living in the family shelter. Sam Liu is a San Francisco native and is the Coalition's Director of Policy. Please welcome them.
Hello, San Francisco! A lot of things went wrong in 2018, but one of the most beautiful things that happened last November is that we passed Prop C with a FEM-led campaign, by the way, which means we are going to be taxing San Francisco's largest corporations and using that money to house homeless people in this city. We did that, San Francisco. We did that. But the fight for housing justice is far from over. As the rain pours, I think about the homeless pregnant woman who sleeps outside our office. How in this city, if you are pregnant and homeless, you still can't get into the family shelter until your third trimester. How no matter how much we want to get her into housing, it will still be years. She holds her belly and waits. I think about how she will still be sleeping on our doorstep tonight. So often, women are left out of the conversation, left uninvited to the table. We are forced to pull up chairs and make space where there is none. Sometimes we stand in the room for years until we are finally offered a seat. Most of the time, we're making our own damn tables. And yet, when women speak on homelessness, when we speak on women's issues, there is an absence in the room. Where are the unhoused women? So when I am asked to speak on women and homelessness, I say, ask homeless women. When I am asked what homeless women need, I say, ask homeless women. When I am asked how we can end homelessness, I say, ask homeless women. Our movement cannot exist without the leadership of homeless women, of poor women, queer women, trans women, gender non-conforming folks, women with disabilities, undocumented women, women who are living in their cars, in the shelter, who are fleeing abuse. We must be a movement that is dedicated to understanding who is missing in the room and meaningfully responding to that absence. So I ask you to look around today and recognize that absence. Who are we not making room for? Who feels like this space isn't for them? Who can't be here? There are women who have to work, who have to wait in line for shelter, who are too cold, too tired, too hungry to come here. And our job in 2019 is to make sure that all women are taken care of, all women are protected and included in this family, including homeless women. So as we we walk down Market Street later today, you will walk by homeless women. And I ask you, will you pass on by or will you invite them to join us? We have enough money in this city that we can make housing a human right. But we will not be able to do so without standing together with homeless women. Homelessness is a women's issue. Homeless women are women. Stand in solidarity with homeless women. Stand in solidarity with homeless women. And now, I am so excited to introduce the powerful organizer and mother in the struggle, Tracy Mixon.
Thank you, everybody. First of all, I want to start by saying this is very, very humbling. I have the support of every single woman out here and men too, so thank you. I appreciate that so much. I'm a San Francisco native, right up out of Fillmore, and I'm currently homeless in this city. Real talk, I never thought that I would be homeless with my daughter, let alone have worked on Proposition C, our city, our home, and I helped get that passed, and that's empowering for me. I didn't think I was going to be here in front of so many beautiful faces at this Women's March, speaking to you guys, and this means so much to me. I fought with my daughter for Proposition C. I had her passing out flyers just like I was doing it because I wanted her to see what this was going to be about. I get a chance to show her what true activism is, and I'm so grateful for that. And I know that I have found my voice, because if I didn't find my voice, I wouldn't be up in here in front of y'all. And about this city, it's hard when there are no real resources being offered to homeless mothers and homeless families, because I'm in a shelter right now. And guess what? Some of my girls is here supporting me that are in the shelter and going through the struggle with me, my girls. And I know that I'm trying to make a change in this city, and I know my daughter is going to make a change in this world. So y'all look out for her, because one day she is going to be a president of the United States. There's no shame in being homeless. The only shame is this city not doing enough for homeless people. We done went from staying in people's homes to now being in shelter that we might be forced out of at any time because of the time limits that are placed on us. I don't want to leave my home, because this is my city. I was born and raised here, and I don't plan on leaving here. And it's scary for me and my daughter to think that we might have to leave here, because I can't afford to pay for transportation and child care and those things like that. And I get up and I work every day to show her an example of what women power is. Only thing that I ask is I don't need anybody's sympathy at the end of the day. I need everybody to walk it like they talk it, because I'm in this struggle every single day, and I'm trying to make it better for not just me and my daughter, but for everybody in this city. What I need from everybody out here is join together, because you know what? I'm proud of my city, because you guys that are voters in this city helped pass Proposition C. And I'm grateful for that. I thank you guys for that, because I'm proud of this city, because you guys stood back and you thought about it and realized that this was the best thing for us. So in closing, I just want to say I need everybody, men, women. Hey, your kids can do it too, because my kid did it. We can all fight together in this struggle. Thank you, everybody.
Claire Farley is the Senior Advisor to the Mayor and Director of the Office of Transgender Initiatives. She also worked for over a decade at San Francisco LGBT Center, leading their economic development and employment programs. She received the Outstanding Voices Award from San Francisco Business Times and was recognized as a soldier of change by the San Francisco Magazine's annual Women in Power issue. Please welcome Claire Farley.
afternoon, San Francisco! Are you enjoying the march today? My name is Claire Farley, and I am the Senior Advisor to the Mayor on LGBTQ affairs and the first director in the country to run an office of trans initiatives. You are the reason why I am proud to be a San Franciscan. I'm so grateful for Mayor Breed's support and the leadership of the city's commitment to trans and LGBTQ rights. I also want to thank the Women's March for inviting me to be here today to speak about their strong values of intersectionality across our movements and our allies. I know that many of my sisters in the trans and queer community may have felt excluded from women's spaces and organizing. I am so honored then to be invited here today to celebrate with you all as a proud trans woman, as a wife, as a daughter, as a sister, as an advocate for civil rights. San Francisco has a strong history as a champion for all, and we are the necessary beacon of hope for the rest of the country in these times right now, right? Today we gather to remember our resiliency, our power, the work ahead that cannot be done alone. We need you to join us. Are you with us? Right now, so many of our communities are under attack, but it's important to remember that you are not alone, that we are not alone. We have always pushed for a better tomorrow, and we have this lesson to share from the trans community that we are resilient. Our elders didn't back down at Compton's cafeteria riots in the 60s. And today, just in our neighborhood here, we have the first transgender cultural district in the country. Despite Trump and the federal administration's attack on our community, we have not given up. He has attempted to fail a ban that wouldn't allow us to serve our own country. He has attempted to give providers the license to discriminate and refuse medically necessary care to women and transgender people. And even more so, he has threatened the Constitution, calling for the redefinition of gender based on our sex assigned at birth. Boo! Despite all of this, we have not been erased. We are still here, and we are winning! Women and LGBT candidates have won elections all over this great country. We have taken back the House by showing up at the ballot box. And there are more women of color and immigrants elected than ever before. We are winning. We have so much to be hopeful for because change is coming. Over the last year, TG&C communities and allies, women of color, immigrants have mobilized nationwide to call out the administration for their hateful efforts to score political points that try to strip away our basic human dignity. However, our communities, our allies, political leaders, scientists, educators, and experts have all shown a united front that we will not allow trans people to be erased. We won't be erased. We won't be erased. However, now more than ever, we must be the change we want to see. Inclusive, informed, welcoming, and engaged. Together, we can help make sure that no one is erased in our movements. So I want to give you all some homework. These are some actions that you can take with you and share with your friends and family. One, bring attention to anti-LGBT, anti-immigrant, and women's rights legislation. 2, contact your legislators and ask them to pass the Equality Act now. No more waiting for federal protections across this country. 3, get out the vote. We need to be prepared now for 2020. We can no longer wait. 4, support trans-led organizations and community events. We need you to get involved. We need you to donate. We need you to mentor. 5, give back to the community and help support our leaders of tomorrow. And 6, my final point is we need you as allies of the trans and queer community to contact your friends, your family, and all parts of the country, because San Francisco should be the values of the rest of the country. We should make sure that our friends and families respect all of our identities and see trans women as women. In conclusion, we know from history that change requires action, community, and resistance. Today, we are marching to mobilize our collective strength with the vision and map to our win in 2020. Are you with me? Thank you, thank you.
Rebecca Solnit, writer, historian, and activist. She is the author of 20 books on feminism, Western and Indigenous history, popular power, social change, and insurrection, wandering and walking, hope and disaster. A product of the California public education system, she writes regularly for The Guardian and serves on the board of Oil Change International. Please welcome Rebecca Solnit.
Wow. You all are why I'm hopeful, and I'm here to talk about hope and power, and apparently reverb. So it's an honor to be here on the Ohlone land I've lived on all my adult life after a childhood on Coast Miwok land. And my new slogan is, don't ask what's going to happen, we are what's going to happen. And I see you all out there, and you are happening. And so that's what the Women's March was about 2 years ago. Trump won a minority victory because of so many things. Massive suppression of the voices and votes of people of color, misogyny, the failings of the mainstream press, and Silicon Valley's corrosive effects. It would have been easy at that point to say patriarchy had won, white supremacy had won, that the demonization and persecution of immigrants and refugees had won, that climate denial had won, that corporate capitalism and hyper-inequality had won. They would have won if we did nothing. But we did something. We did many things. We woke up, stood together, shouted out, organized, and got out the vote. We invigorated movements around immigrants and refugees' rights, around voting rights, around women's rights, around trans and queer and Muslim rights, around racial justice. 2 years ago, we marched in what turned out to be the single biggest protest in the history of this country, by far. There was never anything like it, and it wasn't all in the big cities that you heard about. It was in little towns in Alaska and Nebraska. So, what? We marched to be with each other in public, to be strong, to be fearless, to be civil society, to face history, to make our own destiny. We marched together in public from Anchorage to Miami and 500,000 little towns in between. 2 years later, we are stronger than them. And if we remember our power and our goals, if we love more than we hate, if we work more than we watch, we can win. Slowly, imperfectly, step by step, but we can win a lot of what's worth winning. I see the changes mounting and ideas evolving. 2 years ago, we didn't have Me Too. We didn't have the sunrise movement. We didn't have that fantastic blue wave that didn't just take back the house, but made it a house in which at last Native American women govern, as they always should have, in which more young visionaries and people of color and women serve, in which we can advance ideas like the Green New Deal as reasonable, necessary, urgent. I see the demographic change that will make this a non-white majority nation in a quarter century. There's no stopping that. The essay that impacted me the most in 2018 was by Michelle Alexander, author of The New Jim Crow. She argued that we are not the resistance, they are the resistance. We are the river they're trying to hold back, but we are unstoppable. Climate scientists tell us we have 10 years to change everything about how we power our lives and treat our world, or else. I'm a climate activist and I'm a feminist, and those aren't separate things. Martin Luther King Jr., who would have been 90 this week and would have become a great environmentalist as part of his work here, had he not been assassinated, he once said, "All I'm saying is simply this, that all life is interrelated, that somehow we're caught in an inescapable network of mutuality, tied in a single garment of destiny. Whatever affects one directly, indirectly affects all." Feminism at its best, at the intersection, says that everyone has value, that everyone's rights matter. And environmentalism says that everything is connected, everything matters. You can't take any of the pieces out of the system because it's too elegant, too complex, too perfectly balanced a machine to try and tear it up and reinvent it. Conservative philosophy at its essence is a lie that nothing is connected, that we're all alone, that we should be selfish because nobody's for you and you're not for anybody. Environmentalism, feminism, humanism tell us the opposite. We are together, we are connected, we can shape the forces around us, but they shape us. From inequality of opportunity to the health or contamination of our air, our water, our food. That the U.S. is not separate from Central America, that the fate of our societies is not separate from the fate of our oceans and forests, that the carbon in the upper atmosphere shapes what happens here below, that we must remember the past to make the future. Let us wear that single garment of destiny King spoke of with pride. Let us become seamstresses who stitch it into something that fits everyone and leaves no one bare and unprotected. Let us remember that we are not the dam of resistance. We are the irresistible river. And now let us flow through the streets, unstoppable. We are what is going to happen. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Before I bring on my next speaker, I just want to take a moment and thank personally the co-chair of Women's March of San Francisco, Sophia Andari, who was kind enough to offer me this opportunity. It is literally a dream come true for this little immigrant Muslim girl to stand up here and be in front of you amazing people. So thank you for that. And thank you to the amazing volunteers and the rest of the team for putting all this together for us. Thank you. Dr. Masimbi Kanyoro is president and CEO of Global Fund for Women, one of the world's leading publicly supported foundations for gender equality. They have donated over $150 million globally for women. Yeah. She is a social activist and theologian who is globally recognized for her leadership of organizations and initiatives that advance human rights and philanthropy for women and girls. Please welcome Dr. Masimbi Kanyoro.
San Francisco marchers,
Why did you come here? You came here to march. Can you say, we came to march? We want to march. We believe in justice. We believe in justice for everybody. We are global. We are national. We are local. We will invest our time and our talent and our treasure in supporting freedom. We will invest our time, our talent, our treasure in supporting justice. We have the right to choose what organization to support. Say that. Thank you. Now, at the Global Fund for Women, we build movements, not walls. We build movements. Say, we build movements. We are going to work to build a human rights movement. We shall support safe environment. We shall support climate change initiatives. We shall support girls to go to school. We shall support justice for LGBTQI and trans people and binary people. We shall support movements that oppose race discrimination. And we are going to work for equal pay everywhere, including in the Bay Area. And so from the Global Fund for Women, we bring you the visibility of the fact that this is a global movement. Only 3 weeks ago, women in India, only 7,000 miles away from here, organized themselves in long millions of lines and protested. They showed us what marching looks like, and we want to be able to do that here today. 4 months ago, women in Brazil organized to protest the killing of Bianco, a black woman like myself, an activist like myself. Let us stand in solidarity of all of those who are in the front lines, fighting for justice for themselves, for their families, for the environment, and for the future of all of us. And so I free us to march today to organize and not to agonize. And to remember, justice is not about just us. And justice delayed is justice denied. So let us march as a movement for justice for everyone, no exception, with no exception. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Hi, everyone. My name is Elizabeth Lanyon, and I'm one of the organizers who put this thing together. So thank you so much for coming out today. Women's March is a labor of love. We rally and we march to create this space to bring together and demonstrate our commitment to change. Anyone in a yellow vest, they help put this thing on. Please thank them. They've been here since 6 a.m. They're raising money. They're moving barricades. They're making sure we have this space to celebrate together. Thank you to everyone who donated today. We're working on reaching our fundraising goals. This event is not cheap. We will be here again next year, but we need your help to do it. A big thank you to the city of San Francisco. You have been a steadfast supporter of the Women's March since 2017 when we started. Thank you for believing in us and investing so much hope in our movement. So Women's March, it's an opportunity for us to stand together in our common humanity, to promote human rights and social justice and civil liberties. We started a tidal wave. And we need all of you to continue that tidal wave to keep making change. Because 2020, it's coming real fast. So until our families are safe, until our bodies are our own, until we can close that damn wage gap, we have work to do. So let's be safe today. Make some new friends. Please support the Women's March. Thank you for being here and for helping us build a better future for women everywhere. Special shout outs to my girl Arzo and the National Center for Lesbian Rights. See you in the